Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into a totally different way to master system design. We're going to talk about an approach that gets you off the whiteboard and into the real world of production-ready skills. Let's jump right in.
Does this feel familiar? You've read all the books, you've watched the tutorials, you get the theory behind things like load balancing or caching. But then, when it's time to actually build a real, scalable system, there's a disconnect. It's a super common and honestly pretty frustrating problem. And it's exactly what we're going to tackle today.
So let's kick things off by naming the problem. I like to call it the theory trap. It's this idea that just because you can draw it on a whiteboard, you know how to build it. But in reality, that is just a tiny, tiny piece of the puzzle.
And this is where you see a massive difference in philosophy. Most of the time, system design is taught in this abstract world of whiteboards and diagrams. This approach, it's the complete opposite. It's all about shifting from just theory to actual production code, from drawing diagrams to real deployment, and from abstract ideas to getting your hands dirty with implementation. The focus is 100% on doing.
So that leads us right into the solution. If the big problem is a lack of real, practical experience, then the answer is pretty simple, right? You have to learn by building. It's a total shift in how we think about developing these critical skills.
This quote just nails the mindset. It's all about active, end-to-end ownership. It's not enough to just passively learn the concepts. You've got to build the thing, make it better, push it to production, and truly master it. You become an engineer who owns a complex system from the ground up. Now, we're not talking about a weekend workshop here. This is a 365-day journey. Every single day, you're doing practical, hands-on tasks. The real power here is in that consistency. Every day, you build something real, you produce something tangible, and you're just incrementally leveling up your skills. So, what does that daily grind actually look like? Well, it follows this really smart 4-step loop. First, you get introduced to a core concept. Then, you immediately apply it with a hands-on implementation task. Next, and this is key, you integrate that new piece into the bigger system. And finally, you think about the real-world production side of things. This cycle makes sure that every single line of code is built with the whole system in mind.
Okay, so you're doing all this work every single day. Where does it all lead? Well, it all culminates in one single, incredibly impressive project. Over the course of the year, you're not just doing random little exercises. You are building a complete production-grade platform, right from scratch.
And that project? It's a distributed log processing system. Think about platforms like Splunk or Datadog. This is a massive engineering challenge. It's designed to take in huge volumes of data in real time from all over the place. Building this isn't just a classroom exercise. It's a real-world, high-value engineering achievement.
And let me tell you, the final result is not some toy project. We are talking about a system that can scale out to millions of users, with interfaces that respond in milliseconds. It's got multi-tenancy for enterprise clients, and it maintains 99.99% availability. That's the 4.9's gold standard for services you can rely on. This is the real deal.
The whole curriculum is broken down into these really comprehensive modules that guide you logically from the very beginning. You start with the foundations, Docker, Git, networking, then you move up to scalable processing with tools like Kafka. From there, you get into some really advanced distributed concepts like the Raft consensus algorithm before you master modern deployment with Kubernetes and Terraform. It's a true A to Z journey.
So you might be wondering, who is this really for? I mean, this is a pretty intensive hands-on way to learn. Well, it's designed for a whole range of folks who are really looking to make a big jump in their careers.
It doesn't matter if you're a recent grad trying to connect the dots from school to the real world, or an engineer who wants to level up to an architect role. Even system architects looking to modernize their skills, or DevOps engineers who want to know more. Even managers who need that deeper technical context. This experience gives you that crucial next step. It's all about getting to that next level of technical leadership.
But really, at the end of the day, this whole thing is about one thing: transformation. It changes who you are as a professional. You go from being someone who just understands system design concepts to an engineer who can look someone in the eye and say, I have built a complex, production-grade system from the ground up. That is an incredibly powerful statement.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important piece of all this, the mindset. It's about learning to think like a true systems owner, and that goes way, way beyond just writing the code. This is what really separates a classroom project from software that can actually run in the real world.
You're forced to think about security, about performance when you're under heavy load, about observability so you know what's going on, and about fault tolerance so your system doesn't fall over. These aren't afterthoughts. They are baked into every single task.
And that brings us back to a really key takeaway. You're not just building a bunch of disconnected hello world examples here. You are building one single, cohesive, end-to-end platform where every new piece has to work with everything that came before it. Because that's how real systems are actually built.
So it all leaves us with one final question to think about. Are you ready to make that shift? To move past the diagrams and the whiteboards and to start actually building the skills that define a top-tier engineer? Because, there's a huge difference between knowing the path and actually walking the path.